Okay, the meeting will come to order. Barbara, please call the roll.
We have Commissioners Berard, Fleming, Levine, and Noonan present.
So a quorum is present. We're expecting Commissioner Funderburk. This proceeding is broadcast on Channel 35. The exact broadcast times can be found by contacting Channel 35. I have a couple of agenda item changes. Please defer item 24 from the agenda. Do we need a motion, Council?
Yes, you do.
Move to defer item 24.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
It's deferred. And we've added an item that is identified as item 31 after item 27. I'm not quite sure what the sequencing is here. I think it became 31 because there are a lot of closed session items. So after 27, we'll do 31. I have no opening remarks. Report briefing by the General Manager.
I have nothing today, sir.
Comments from commissioners on agendized items and requests from commissioners relating to departmental operations.
I simply want to commend the Water Division and all of the many employees and workers who are involved with Headworks. Like Commissioner Fleming, I took a few hours to go visit the site, and this was one of the hottest days last week. And I see Susan, who escorted me. She did a wonderful job. Thank you. But to think of our employees 60 feet down in the ground working on a 1,200 square foot long tunnel. My understanding is, even though I didn't go down to the tunnel, not only was the temperature up in the hundreds, but it's humid there too. And once they're down, it's very difficult for them to come up. So I just have to commend them. And since I went on that tour, I think about them often and all of the employees that do so much for our department.
Thank you. Other comments from commissioners? Public comment. Do we have any cards, Barbara?
I do not have any cards for item 4.
Comments from ratepayer advocate on agendized items.
I will have comments, brief comments on the budget at that time. No other. Thank you.
We will look forward to them. Consent agenda. I'd like item 20 pulled. Are there any other items that any commissioners like removed from the consent agenda? Commissioner Barad?
Yes. 10, please.
Okay. Any others?
Which one did you put?
20.
17.
Okay. Others?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's it?
Yeah.
Commissioner Fleming? Nope. Commissioner Noonan?
I also have questions about item number 20.
Okay.
Sir, if I could also ask you to pull 12 and 13 for a brief comment by staff.
Okay. So that leaves items 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 21, and 22. Is there a motion to approve those items?
I'll move.
Second, those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Those consent items are approved. So we move to item 10, Commissioner Barad.
I just have a few questions about the height. The floating covers. I wanted to know how long do they last, and if you could kind of start with that, and how often do they need to be replaced?
Well, with the pipeline, which we intend to put on Eagle Rock, the life of that particular material is estimated to be about 20 years.
20.
Yes.
And how old was the one that you wanted to replace?
Eagle Rock is less than 20. It's about 10 years. It was not done with Hypalon. It was done with another material, polypropylene, which did not last that long. So that's why we're going back to actually the Hypalon material.
I see. Okay. Yeah, because it said here that it couldn't be replaced, so that's why I wanted to know about that. All right, and then in the financial information, could you talk a little bit about the budget and the contingency there, the 15%?
Okay. Well, basically, we have the contingency there because of certain unknowns regarding that when we replace that. There's some infrastructure around the outlet because we're not making any changes to the reservoir when we replace the cover. It's just being replaced in kind, like a swimming pool cover, but there's certain parts of the reservoir that we can't really see until we drain it and actually take the cover out. So we're not sure if, for instance, there's some infrastructure around the outlet tower that may need to be replaced depending on what the condition is once we drain it. So we'll look at it. There are also some valves that we'll look at once we need to drain the reservoir and see how they function. They may need to be replaced. So because of the uncertainty of these items that we can't really determine until the reservoir is drained, that's why we have the 15% contingency.
Okay, thank you. And so I just want to be clear so that you're not using that material anymore.
No, we are not.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions on item 10? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second? Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's passed. Thank you. Madam General Manager, items 12 and 13.
Yes, sir. Right.
Thank you. On item 12 and 13, just very briefly, item 12 is asking the board to accept funding from the state of California under the state revolving fund. In this case, it's a receipt of $150 million, $54 million in low-interest loans and $12 million in grants. The result of this, because of the interest difference, is that it'll save about $82 million in interest payments that is a direct savings to our customers. But more importantly, I wanted to highlight just the culmination. This happens every year that we have an opportunity to accept some state revolving fund money. But I'd like to acknowledge one of our employees, a utility administrator in WETS, Cora Siaconco. Cora, can you stand up, please? For the last 11 years, it has been her personal charge to go after these funds, which at this point include $57 million in direct grants and almost $850 million in total money, including low and no interest loans. The savings that will be achieved from this that'll benefit our customers is over $500 million in interest savings. And so this has been a program that we've been very active in. It's funded about close to half of our water quality improvement projects. And so I'd like to recognize Cora for her great work, and it's nice when she gets a check in the mail for $150 million. She won't let me touch it, but...
Can other parts of the department borrow her from time to time?
So anyway, so item 12 is the acceptance of this year's funds, and item 13 is permission to pursue additional funds next year.
Well, congratulations, and thank you very much. Is there a motion to approve 12 and 13?
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
It's approved.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Item 17, Commissioner Barad.
I just wanted to see if we could have somewhat of an update on this, on the dust control in relating to the Great Basin. More of an update than specific questions. I know this is something that we've been dealing with a lot.
Commissioner, we do have a the Great Basin items on closed session as well.
Okay.
This item in particular is for our annual funding obligation to them, which is independent of the items we've been discussing on an ongoing basis.
Okay. Thank you.
My inclination would be that we address all of these related items in the closed session when we're talking about the Great Basin issue.
Okay. So this is just the reason that this is here is just because it's a budgeted ongoing item, is that right?
Right, we have a obligation to fund a portion of their budget on an annual basis, and that's what this item does.
Okay.
It is unrelated to
All right.
to the items we've been discussing in closed session.
That's what I was wondering, why it was here. Okay, thank
You
you.
okay with it?
Yeah,
Is there a motion?
so move.
Second, those in favor?
Aye.
It's passed. Item 20, the reason I took item 20 off the consent calendar is simply to highlight it. I'm not sure who will be presenting it, but I think this is a fabulous program and one that deserves more than consent calendar approval, simply to put a spotlight on the value of this program. So if you could do a brief summary of it,
Sure.
I'd appreciate it.
Shannon Pasquale, Human Resources.
Jose Artiles, Los Angeles Unified School District.
So the YSA program, or the Youth Services Academy program, has been a program that we have been in partnership with LAUSD for 24 years. We've had some 3,000 high school students come through this program who actually get on-the-job experience, assisting with a number of areas within the department, specifically in all three systems. We have 30 students currently right now who are working throughout water, power, and joint. We have 9 students of the 30 here today.
Oh, great.
And they're in the audience here today.
Could they stand?
Can you guys stand up real quick?
Pretty impressive looking group. Terrific. Thank you.
The other 21 are in class right now. So
Why aren't they in class?
they're in independent study right now.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. So no, they're not ditching.
No, they have permission to be here.
We made sure of that. And in essence, it's been a really great program. We've seen a lot of young kids come through, and we look forward to having more come through this program. I won't speak for LAUSD, but on the department side, it's been something very rewarding for all of us. And we actually have some individuals right now, one in particular who has been assigned to HR, who has a specific interest in learning more about engineering. And so we're going to be moving him to the water system so he can actually start working alongside some of the engineers to get firsthand knowledge of what it is that they do for the department. And I'll turn it over.
And how does LAUSD feel about the program?
Oh, Los Angeles Unified School District is very, very happy with the program. We've, like Shannon said, we've been a partner for over 24 years now. The district just loves it because it gives our students a chance to actually apply what they learn in the classroom in a real life situation. And, talking with the students, that's what they're getting. And we just really appreciate the support that you guys have given us throughout the years, and we intend to continue that partnership.
Well, just speaking for myself, my guess is I'm speaking for others as well. You hear a lot of criticism of LAUSD about this, that, and the other, and you hear criticism of LADWP about this, that, and the other. This is a fabulous program that both LADWP and LAUSD should be commended for, and I appreciate the fact that we have these students here today, and I want to salute LAUSD and our department for having a program this important and significant. Are there other? Commissioner Fleming.
I just had a question. So we've had 3,000 folks who graduated from this program. How many of those folks are currently employed by the City of LA or the DWP?
So one of the challenges that both organizations have as it relates to this program is that once the students leave LAUSD, we don't have the ability to kind of track where they go. And DWP doesn't have the ability to track where they go either because they go on their own separate path. What we're hoping to do going forward is through the mentorship program that we have through the department. One of the requirements of the program is that all the students have a mentor in the department. So one of the things that we're looking to try to do is continue the relationships beyond the program, to stay in contact with them, to see if in fact they do come back and try to apply for a position in the city or specifically in the Department of Water and Power. But in prior years, we've not had the ability to track them once they leave the program.
Because you would think that if folks were applying for a job within this department or in a city agency, and when you're asked for kind of qualifications, saying that you're a graduate of this program would be to your benefit, right? So we should have a way, perhaps looking forward, but we should have a way to track these folks. So I think it's a terrific program, but you want to be able to justify this, and the numbers would be able to justify it by saying we've trained 3,000 folks. Here's how many stay in the system. Here's how many have progressed through the ranks in the city and taken on great responsibilities. It would help us actually probably even find private money to help fund, or additional monies to help fund terrific training programs like this. So anything you all can do to provide some more measurement for this program, or for the graduates of this program, would be terrifically appreciated, and I'm sure would be a value add.
Right. Yeah, and we intend to do that.
Thank you.
Yeah, as interestingly enough, that was my question that I was going to pose too, and I completely agree with Commissioner Fleming. I think just having that kind of data will help support this program even further. So, very well said.
Yeah, and I think in the future we'll have this. We'll try and connect with them better. The issue though is that almost all of our students go to college. So once they go to college, they can go to the East Coast or wherever they go, and it's just a lot more challenging because they're focused with their studies and whatnot. But we plan to work with Shannon on trying to make that better.
Right. Folks at the age of the 9 terrific folks you brought today have an amazing capacity to use technology to stay in touch with one another.
Yes.
And I'm sure they could figure out a way to harness this, as opposed to someone my age.
Yeah.
They could figure out a way to harness this so that we really could track them and show how really impressive and important this program is.
We agree.
How does it work? It says it's an academy. Do you have a place where you meet, or how is it actually done logistically?
So I'll give you a breakdown. So you want me to start with the recruiting process, or just
No,
the
where do
program itself?
where do they work together, and where do they
I
learn
see.
this?
So Monday through Thursday, they work from 1 to 5 typically with their mentors. And then on Fridays, we meet with all the students to go over, just the items that maybe have come up in the workplace. We go over work readiness training, things to help them get better in what they're doing.
And they work in various places?
That is correct.
Now, have you linked up at all with the science magnets throughout LAUSD?
When we do, yes and no. When we do recruiting, I do send out the program information to the teachers that run those programs. So they do get an opportunity to be part of the program.
Because there are some terrific math and science magnets throughout LAUSD.
Oh, yes.
That are grooming, the future engineers,
Right.
Of tomorrow. And I
Right.
think this would be,
Definitely.
terrific if you could somehow
Yeah.
work together on this.
Yeah, the biggest challenge is because the program starts at 1 o'clock, many of those students want to do other classes at the school, so they can't come work here. So that's usually the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
But,
Also,
yeah.
I think that perhaps DWP might think in the future of somehow working collaboratively with the science and math magnets from LAUSD.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's another department that actually has a contact over at our science department that they run programs together.
Right.
Yeah.
Good. Thanks.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Second, those in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We move to the regular agenda, item 23. Beacon Solar Project, including responsible agency actions required under the California Environmental Quality Act.
Commissioners, I'll open this, and if you have additional questions, we can call up the environmental folks. So this resolution, what it does, it fulfills LADWP's responsibilities under CEQA prior to entering into project-related agreements for the Beacon project. This doesn't actually approve any projects itself, but what it does is it adopts an EIR and the documents associated with this project that were approved by Kern County. LADWP purchased the Beacon project in July of 2012 from a solar developer. We procured over 2,500 acres, and all the work related to the EIR and the engineering that had been done up until that point of our purchase. Kern County was the CEQA lead agency during that process. In accordance with the CEQA, LADWP is a responsible agency for the Beacon project. So adoption of this resolution will result in the adoption of the mitigation measures, the findings of fact and statements of the overriding consideration, and accepting the terms and conditions that were adopted through the Kern County process. So it's not a financial implication, it's not approving a project, it's really approving the CEQA findings and the associated mitigation requirements that were adopted in that process.
Thank you. Questions, comments? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second, those in favor? Aye. None opposed, it's approved. We move to item 25, amendment number 2 to agreement number 197 for out-of-state disaster recovery data center with Switch Communications Group, LLC.
Thank you, sir. Our CIO, Matt Lamb.
Good morning. Matt Lamp, CIO. This is an amendment that essentially extends by 5 years with an option for another 5-year renewal period our contract for the disaster recovery site at the Switch Communications Data Center. That was established a few years ago, really at behest of the board, that we move forward and really establish an out-of-basin disaster recovery site. Switch has been a very good location for us. It is very expensive to move out of there. They have maintained the pricing and terms throughout the 10-year period. And we believe it is by far the most cost-effective solution to remain there for a disaster recovery site.
Are there casinos there?
At Switch itself? No.
Just curious.
And it is not an easy facility to get into. To get to Arcade, you pass an outer gate, an armed guard to get into the building, through a man door after you have, where they can only let one person through at a time, and then through a couple other gated doors before you can get to Arcade. If you're not badged for it, you have an armed escort within 15 feet of you at all times.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good to hear. Any questions or comments? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second, those in favor? It's approved. Thank you. Item 26 is the Power Revenue Fund Receipts and Appropriations Final Budget and Associated Schedules for fiscal year 2014 and 15. We now have 2 speaker cards for item 26. Barbara?
Okay, the first speaker is Frank Alvarez. And please limit your comments to 2 minutes. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Frank Alvarez. I'm an organizer with the Los Angeles Alliance for a New Economy and the Repower LA Coalition. Over the past few board meetings, you've had the opportunity to meet some of our diverse coalition members. You've heard from a building manager from South LA who signed up 4 of his buildings for the Home Energy Improvement Program. You heard from a homeowner in South LA who had potentially life-threatening conditions in her home change and improve through the Home Energy Improvement Program and work done by the utility pre-craft trainees. You've heard from young people and community-based organizations who are doing outreach, connecting small businesses to the Small Business Direct Install program. Environmentalists who have been advocating for cleaner energy so we can have less pollution in our communities. These are just some of the faces of the Repower LA Coalition. Again, we're representing 35 organizations across the city of LA who are all advocating for a cleaner utility. We're here today to ask you to pass today's budget and approve it and continue to increase the goal of energy efficiency and the budget for energy efficiency, because these are the programs that are connecting customers, hard-to-reach customers, with the positive aspects of DWP, with the good things the department is doing. And we want to ask you to continue to grow that. Thank you. I have some letters of support from organizations as well that I'd like to pass up to the commissioners.
Give them to the officer to your right. Thank you very much.
Okay, the next speaker is Spike Lewis.
Hello, my name is Spike Lewis. I have lived in the Los Angeles metropolitan area since 1987, and I am an LADWP ratepayer. You might have noticed that I spend a lot of time in the sun. I've been a dog walker for the last 8.5 years, and I hike my dogs on private land on the top of the Sepulveda Pass. On a clear day, I can see the Santa Monica Bay, a good portion of LA, the San Fernando Valley, and the San Gabriel Mountains, including peaks close to the San Bernardino County line. What is striking is how green our metropolitan region is. What also stands out for me as an Angelino is all the green initiatives LA has taken over the past decade. Recently, Los Angeles has committed to getting off of coal-fired power, replaced its diesel-fueled metro buses, banned the single-use plastic bag, and instituted a feed-in tariff. While these are just a few of our city's recent green initiatives, the one that has impressed me the most is our investment in energy efficiency. 2 years ago, this Board of Commissioners showcased LA's clean energy leadership when they voted to increase the DWP's energy efficiency targets and double the energy efficiency budget. Not only will the energy efficiency savings from this efficiency increase help us to replace coal-fired power when we divest from the Navajo generating station in 2015, this increase reduces our city's greenhouse gas emissions. This is especially important since Congress refuses to act on climate change. The best part of the 2012 energy efficiency increase, however, is its impact it has had directly in our neighborhoods. Energy efficiency helps DWP customers pay their utility bills, especially those residences, businesses, and schools who are struggling the most. Energy efficiency also creates good, quality, career path jobs in our cities. The utility pre-craft training program component was noted by the University of California, Berkeley as a best practice model for workforce training for entry-level workers. Today, the Board of Commissioners will be voting on next year's budget, which includes a significant increase in energy efficiency. As a ratepayer and concerned Angelino, I request you further LA's clean energy leadership by passing this budget. This will allow our city to keep our utility bills affordable while we move away from fossil fuels and show the rest of the country it is possible to address climate change. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. We'll take items 26 and 27 together, 26 being the power budget and 27 being the water budget. Mr. Howard? Or, no, I guess it's Mr. Leib.
Yes, I'll just introduce the topic, and then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Black just to walk us through some brief slides. We have 4 items in a combined resolution that would adopt the budget, adopt the annual personnel resolution, adopt changes in financial metrics, and approve transmission of funds to reimburse the city for the RPA's budget. So we have just 7 slides that Mr. Black will walk through. I've asked Mr. Black to provide this last update on the final budget because, in a sense, this is the final budget for Mr. Black. Mr. Black will be retiring this week after 33 years at the department, including 17 years in the power system as well as 16 years in FSO. He's led the budget and cost of service group since 2010. He's been an extremely versatile and dedicated employee. And I've tried about everything I can think of to get him to stay longer, including pointing out that he's certainly got a lot more years of good work in him. And I tried to compete. The last person the board honored had 46 years in. He's only got 33. But these arguments have fallen short, and the only good thing we can say is that he's leaving a very competent group that he's trained. He's got a lot of loyalty from his staff, developed them very well. So we're well situated to continue. But with that, I'll provide
in advance, we thank you for your service. And I just have one question of Mr. Leiber, and that is, have there been any changes from the draft budget that was shown to the board and the final budget?
So this is the 4th presentation on the budget. The first 2 were on the preliminary budget. The 3rd presentation, which was on May 6th, was the final budget, and we are just bringing that same budget that we discussed last.
So this is exactly the same as what was brought to us 2 weeks ago.
It's the same.
Thank you.
So seeing that you asked that question, there's really not much for us to go through. But I'm just going to go through the 7 slides in about less than 7 minutes. Just to kind of recap, we brought the preliminary budget to you on March 18th, and it was approved for transmittal. On May 6th, we brought back the final budget that compared that preliminary budget to the final budget. And like you just asked, Commissioner Levine, there really are no material changes to what was presented to you on May the 6th. Well, what we're asking you to approve today are 4 items, and Mr. Leiber already covered those 4 items. That is the water revenue fund and power revenue fund budget, the fiscal year 14-15 annual personnel resolution, the transfer of the estimated cost for the OPA, and then the adoption of the updated water and power revenue fund financial metrics. Just to summarize the budget, what we are asking you to approve is the receipts and appropriations version of the budget, which is a little different from the way that we operate, but it's just a combination of all of our capital and O&M costs. That's how we present it to the city. So it's a $2 billion budget for the water revenue fund and a $4.8 billion budget for the power revenue fund. We're also asking for the annual personnel resolution, a 10,008 authorized budgeted positions that would be effective July 1st of 2014. To tie that into our budget, we've basically funded 91% of those 10,008 positions. On our financial planning criteria, if you look at the center column that says proposed target, those are the targets that we're asking you to approve for fiscal year 14-15. So the current targets are shown in the left column, which is the current metrics, and the right column basically shows you the metrics based on our financial plan that includes this budget in it. The next slide is the Office of Public Accountability transfer of estimated costs. They basically come in under the 0.025% of our revenues that are allocated to them, so they're a little bit less than that. So they're in line. We just need approval to transfer those funds to the general fund. And then basically in next steps, we're just asking you to approve the budget. We need to transmit that to the city council before May 31st, and that's pretty much it.
Thank you very much. Questions?
Can I just ask a procedural one? We're going to be discussing the budget again?
No.
This is it?
This is it.
Oh, all right. Well, then, in that case, I have a question.
Okay.
Regarding personnel, you say you're requesting 10,008 authorized positions. Those are new hires?
No, those are just budgeted positions. So that's the amount of positions that we're authorized to fill.
I see.
But we wouldn't fill to that level because we're basically funded at approximately 9,100 positions.
Is that what currently we have, is 9,100?
We're currently staffed at about 8,900 employees, but our funding's at 9,100, so that's about 200 more than what we're currently staffed at.
Okay, and do we have a number of how many people will be retiring?
That number is always thrown out. It could be up to 40%, but we don't think that that's going to happen. We really don't have the estimate of how many people will actually leave.
All right, so this number then, whether it's 9,000, 10,000, some of those people will be new hires. Is that right? When
Yes.
the people retire, and you bring people in at the entry level?
Yes.
Okay. All right, that's my question. Thank you.
Other questions, comments? Is there a motion to approve?
Some comments.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Dr. Pickle.
There are a couple items. One is page 5 of the PowerPoint presentation notes a number of financial metrics which are proposed targets. And those fit together with expected increases in budgeted revenues of 7.8% in terms of budgeted revenue growth for power and 10.1% budgeted revenue growth for water, so that a miss in these expected increases could violate some of these targets. And as
We understand that these are goals, not bond covenants. And it would, these goals help DWP make sound financial plans. We feel they should be evaluated again when rates are set, because they depend on what, if we depended on what's attained, this could be an implied or real pressure to trigger an increase in rates. So one, I want to stress these are goals, not bond covenants. And then one other program in the budget that's gone through substantial transformation over since the last rate case in 2012 is the Power Reliability Program, and we recommend that Power at some point in the near future do an informational presentation to the board on the evolution of that program and the current status of that program.
Thank you.
I have another question.
Commissioner Broad.
I noticed in our big packet here on the budget that there would be a transfer of $933,000 and more to the city's general fund. Now, is that amount from power and water, or is that times two?
No, the amount is the total amount from the department. It's transferred from the Power Revenue Fund, and then the Water Revenue Fund would reimburse the Power Revenue Fund for their portion of that $933,000.
So it's because it says the same thing under water. They mentioned the same total. So I didn't know if that was each department is $933,000, or is it?
Well, it's $933 for the entire department. That's just a flaw in how we give you the paperwork. Sometimes we're giving you the same thing twice because it's two separate approvals. Yes.
So is it twice?
No, it's just $933,000
okay.
once.
To the general fund. Okay. And how is that calculated? How did you come up with that figure?
The $933,000 is the estimates that we received from the Office of Public Accountability.
Oh, okay. The other thing I wanted to ask, because I noticed that, and I was really gratified to see that one of the priorities is customer service. Is there more in the budget this time for customer service than there has been previously?
Than previous to last year,
yes,
previous to the preliminary budget?
I mean last year, not what you did in preliminary.
We did increase customer service to the level that they indicated that they needed to operate their organization effectively. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I can add a little additional commentary as well. One of the challenges we had in moving from the preliminary to the final budget was that we did need to reduce costs overall. However, in this area, we did exactly the opposite. We added the additional funding to customer service they requested based on the needs that they foresaw to bring in additional staff to address all of the issues that we've been talking about. So in total, there's about $10 million of additional funding for customer service.
That exactly was my point. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Is there a motion to approve both the budgets?
So moved.
Second? Those in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? Thank you again. Congratulations again. I associate myself with Mr. Leiber's comments. 33 years is but a beginning.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We move to item 31. Resolution authorizing the crediting of late payment charges incurred between January 1st, 2014 and June 30th, 2014 to delinquent accounts whose bills are paid in full during the month of June 2014 and received by July 7th, 2014. Mr. Howard.
Commissioners, we've been actively discussing activities that we're moving forward with related to our billing system and the implementation of our new billing system. As we've indicated, we're moving into a more normalized state in a number of activities. But one of the issues outstanding remains the high level of delinquency on our residential and commercial customers, with balances that are total nearly $150 million that are greater than 90 days. We indicated at the last board meeting that we were initiating the collections and severance for that residential sector and moving forward with that program. What we're proposing today would be an opportunity for those customers that have that delinquent balance to pay 100% of the delinquent bill, and for doing so, we would provide them a rebate of all late payment fees that have been incurred since January 1st of 2014. So the objective here is during the month of June to give the opportunity and to promote greatly that opportunity for our customers to make good on the outstanding balances due, and for that, forgive them those late payment charges. We would credit those late payment charges on their next bill. So it would be a credit. It would not be a check issued to those customers, but it'd be a credit. It would hit their bills that will be some of their biggest bills of the year, the summer bills, and those are sometimes the most challenging bills for our customers to pay. So we think it would provide an incremental benefit there. It would also allow us to best account for all those customers and them making those payments and being able to come back to you with an accounting of how much we're crediting. We provided within the board package some potential cost of this activity. The board does have the authority to set late payment fees. We assess them at 1.5% per month of the outstanding balance due. And so your approval today would allow us to implement this, to seek the opportunity to collect as much as possible without having to go through a severance process. That's a very expensive process for us to do, to go out and shut a customer off, to go through the process of turning it back on once they are able to make that payment. For all those customers that are unable to do this and make payment in full, we continue to promote and have that opportunity. They can call us and make payment arrangements. We are not foregoing that. That will be available to all those customers that are unable to do this payment in full. So we would encourage them to call and to make those arrangements, and we'll work with them. So this program is to help us get a little head start on what we think will still be a very challenging period ahead as we walk through this collections and severance. So I'd ask for your approval.
I have one question. You indicated we'd promote this greatly. How do we promote it?
Looking for Joe Romalo. We have put together a communication plan and how we're going to do that, working both with the council members, the mayor's office, through our own formal communications outward, and then we'll look at the opportunity to purchase advertising to the extent it's necessary. We want to, as we've talked before, promote it in a way that we don't overwhelm our call center. We've now been able to get those times down to about 15 minutes or below. We know they're going to increase. We've tried to simplify this in a way that customers don't even have to call. They have their outstanding bill with the late payment charges, the balance due. Pay it in full. You don't even have to call us. We will automatically credit that onto their next bill for the late payment fee. So there's no reason, but if they need to, we're ready to go, and we'd like to ensure that we don't overwhelm the call center, so we will issue that communication as we can temper.
Questions, comments? Commissioner Noonan?
Thank you. 2 questions. You state that currently we have approximately 200,000 residential and commercial customer accounts that are behind. How does this number compare to previous years? That's the first question. And secondly, do we have any projections on how successful this model would be? Because on one hand, I see the advantages of not turning off somebody's power and then having to turn it back on. At the same token, I'm a little cautious about rewarding someone for less than ideal behavior, not making their payments. So.
Under a normalized state and looking historically, the numbers that have been shown to me have been an outstanding delinquency of about 55,000 customers. So we're almost 4 times that at this point. The outstanding balances due historically look like they were about 14 million. We're currently about 255 million. So substantially more dollars and cents that are due the department. As to how successful we'll be, I don't know at this stage of the game. Even if we brought in 10%, 20%, I think it would be a substantial improvement versus going out and doing a formal collections and severance process. The other advantage we have is we would bring this money in the month of June, which will be our final month of the fiscal year. So there is an objective to maximize the amount we bring in the fiscal year. That will also impact the utility users tax transfer that we make to the city. So the city is very much interested in optimizing the amount of city utility users tax that's transferred to them this fiscal year. So there's a number of advantages there. And really, we're trying to do as many different programs as we can to get the customers in and make the payment or start making the payment arrangements.
Okay, that's helpful. I feel like the circumstances are extraordinary, so I applaud you for trying to think outside of the box to have some of these monies come to the department. Thank you.
Commissioner Broad.
What is the breakout with 200,000 as to commercial and residential?
There are currently over 200,000 just residential. The number of commercial customers, we've been working that down. They have been in active collections and severance process. So we're just initiating the residential sector. And so we now currently have over 200,000 in the residential sector.
So this incentive only applies to residential?
No. We would apply it to both commercial and residential.
So actually the total, if you add in the commercial, is more than 200,000.
The total combined is in excess of 200,000. The commercial, the number of accounts, commercial accounts, are relatively small versus the number of residential.
But the amount they owe must be much more, isn't it, in the commercial than the residential?
It is higher typically, but we have been working those down for almost 2 months with the highest balances due first. So those accounts that we have left to work down typically have been less than $3,000.
And so you say you are offering them, the commercial, the incentives?
We are offering the same program to the commercial.
And so is that working? Have you found that?
I'm sorry, I misspoke. We're proposing to offer this program to both residential and commercial. We have not offered up to this stage.
Okay. All right. And then it seems that Joe will make the decision, Romalo, but an insert with the bill, there he is. What if we thought of an insert that goes into the bills that would offer this? And that might preclude people calling if they saw that, as an insert.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to look at several things. The challenge with a bill insert is we bill once every 2 months, and we're only offering this during a 1-month program. So I think we're going to have to be a lot more proactive outside of the bill insert.
How do you reach those people?
The awareness plans for this are significant and extensive. We're planning, in addition to earned media through typical news release and interviews and other media, messaging on the IVR system. We have about 750,000 email addresses for customers. So just like we did with the apology letter on our billing system to send it to them, we can actually do the bill onsert. It's called the insert messaging. We can actually time that so it goes on and comes off during that month of June, but we can't count on all customers receiving that notification because they get billed bi-monthly. Also a major presence in social media, palm cards, which are like flyers, small flyers for council offices, our customer newsletters, paid ads on both social media sites, patch.com, the Neighborhood Council Newswire, as well as in the LA Times, and also online probably in media as well, major media, print media. Also just taking information out to community meetings and such that will be occurring over the coming weeks. We want to make this message very simple and to get it across very extensively in order to get as many customers as possible participating.
And I will add, we obviously have the name and address of every one of these customers. So we do have that opportunity for a direct mail or email to those customers in which we have their information to ensure that they understand they have an opportunity here, and we're willing to incentivize them to do so.
Yeah, we have to let the scammers know not to go after these people. This would be a perfect thing. I want to give them ideas, but, you know, if they knew it, you know, we'll come and take the money right now, but I can't let that happen. Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second, those in favor? Aye. None opposed? It's passed. Thank you, Randy. Monthly report, First Financial Services monthly report.
I don't have too much to say about this other than we have noted in the past several reports that we continue to see some under-collections related to the billing system issues in both water and power. However, the good news, starting in March and actually continuing into April, our collections for both systems were above the budgeted level. So you've been hearing that we've turned the corner, and that is absolutely shown by the collections that we've received in both systems. So that is reflected in the report.
That's great. Good to hear. Questions? Quarterly status report on water quality regulatory compliance projects.
That's only if you have any particular questions.
Questions? Report on real estate agreements in the Owens Valley.
The same, only if you have any questions.
Questions? Item 29, current renewable portfolio standard power purchase agreement projects.
So I'd like to have Mike Webster and Randy Krager come up to give you an overview of our renewable program. We have a number of projects that will be coming before you. We wanted to give you some background, respond to any questions you might have, as well take the opportunity to just highlight some of the approaches and the strategy in moving forward with our renewable development activities. Michael.
Good morning, Mike Webster. I'm Assistant Director of Power System Planning and Development. And so while we have a lot of detail in our presentation today, we think that you can review that, ask questions. We don't need to go through every single slide today unless you desire us to do so. But what we wanted to do is frame the fact that we have some significant projects coming forward in June for approval, and we wanted to at least give you an understanding of how it fits into our overall RPS compliance plan and why they're needed, the guiding principles, and our selection process, so you understand the significant review we've done to get to the point of coming close to recommending these projects to you, and then how it fits into our overall integrated resource plan. And so first, what I'd like to do is jump into some of the details related to the RPS. Now let's just take a moment to understand this graph. Is that for compliance period 2, there's a total quantity of megawatts in which we need to hit. So we need to hit a total quantity that represents 20%, 20%, and 25%. So what the California Energy Commission does at the end of the compliance period, they look at all 3 years and say you have to hit this total of megawatt hours. So right now, with what we already have in place, our short position is 3,446 gigawatt hours short for that compliance period. And you'll see the same thing for compliance period 3. Tremendous uplift in which we need to do. Now, the second line here talks about the projects that we have planned. So these are projects that we are developing our solar incentive program, we're developing a feed-in tariff program, they're approved, but those projects are coming online. We have expectations to improve our hydro system to get more efficiency. And so this is the number that we have planned that are coming to be during this compliance period, leaving a net short of 836 gigawatt hours and a net short of 4,795 gigawatt hours. And so the bottom line then is that what do these projects contribute, this package of projects that we're bringing to you? And so for the second compliance period, It covers 793 and then 4807, which gets us very, very close in compliance period 2 in a perfect world. We always have to recognize there's contingencies, there's low hydro years, there's bad wind years, there's failures in equipment. So in a perfect world, we would be right on. And in compliance period 3, we're very, very close, but this is also based on the old load forecast. An approved load forecast just came out last week, and so we'll be re-looking at our compliance 3 moving forward. And so what drives this in our decision-making process, and we've said this before, but I think it's good to reiterate, is that geographic diversity is really important. We talked about it a couple weeks ago when we were talking about feed-in tariff, is that by moving our projects around our system, it helps us stabilize from a solar perspective, from a wind perspective, and quite frankly, even from a geothermal perspective. Make maximum use of our transmission whenever possible. Make sure that we're not tied to only one area, but we have the flexibility to move so that we recognize if projects fail, we can move very, very quickly into other projects so we can hit compliance, and the concept of clustering. So today we're going to talk about projects that hit most of these items moving forward, including the concept of project ownership. Now, we had over 300 solar proposals that came through the SCAPA process, and we had to winnow down 300 proposals to what made sense for us. So the first thing we do is we go through a series of gates before we even talk to those developers. So we were looking at, does this resource make sense? Does it diversify our resource portfolio? We don't want to be a company that has all wind projects. So we wanted wind, solar, geothermal, biomass. So does it meet that criteria? Are they providing ownership options so that we have the ability to look at projects that make sense for our portfolio when we have a long-term view on renewables over a horizon, not 20 years or 25 years, but literally over 100 years when we look at ownership options? Does the project size make sense for us? Is it scaled to someone like us? We're not terribly interested in doing 10 megawatt projects and 20 megawatt projects over and over. So are these projects large enough where they really fit our portfolio? And do the developers have experience? And then what we do is we go through a criteria to really score these projects. It's not all just about pricing, but we give a score on how it contributes to the geographic diversity and the developer experience. The ability to cluster these projects where we have staff and personnel that can O&M these projects. Are they being built with trained, skilled craftsmen? Because if we want to own these projects, they need to come to a standard that we are comfortable with. Do we have the firm transmission rights? And lastly, do we get the pricing that we're looking for? And we think that the package of projects that we're going to show you today meet all of those criteria. And so before we jump into specific projects, what I wanted to do is kind of summarize this portfolio. Is that this is the city of Mojave right here, and about 14 miles north is the Barren Ridge substation. That is an existing station. And the existing Pine Tree Wind Farm and solar project are just up the hill into the hillside about 5 to 6 miles away from Barren Ridge. We're also in the process of expanding the Barren Ridge transmission line. So as we speak, this line is starting to come together. They're reviewing the RFPs, they're getting ready to make recommendations on building the transmission line. There's a lot of real estate work in that area. And so this upgrade is going to be significant to allow more renewables to flow into Los Angeles. We recently purchased the Beacon project, or the solar property that we can build a project on. We're going to talk about that today. And so this project represents approximately 250 megawatts. And then about 3 miles away from Barren Ridge, on this side of the highway, is a project called the Barren Ridge Renewable Solar Project. And it ties directly into the Barren Ridge station. And then the last project we want to talk about is a project called Springbok, which is actually just outside of the Beacon property, and the transmission runs right through into a new Beacon station that I'll show you a couple pictures of here. And so while this is not a paper exercise, we have crews actually out there. They're doing site development work at this new Beacon station, which is about 3 miles away from Barren Ridge. These are brand new construction towers that are going to bring construction power into this facility. So the towers are up, the lines are going in, the roads are being built, and the site is being prepared in anticipation of the projects that Randy's going to talk about. Now, the timing is critical, and this is why we want to bring these package of projects in June, because in December 31st of 2016, the investment tax credit goes away for these developers, which brings a significant amount of value to Los Angeles. And so by moving forward now, it allows the time for the developers to get the financing they need and to guarantee they're going to get these projects built so it will comply with the second compliance period and we'll be able to reap the benefits of the investment tax credit, which is shared with us. So I'll have Randy introduce himself, and he can go over some of the details of each of the projects.
Does the investment tax credit will apply through tax year 2016, but if something is done during that year or before, the tax credit will apply, but if it's done after that year and there's no renewal of the tax credit, it won't be available.
If there's no renewal, the project must be 100% complete by December 31st, 2016 to qualify. 100% complete. That is correct.
I don't want to interrupt your flow, but I want to get into some aspects of that later on in the discussion.
Okay, we can do that.
Morning, Commissioners. My name is Randy Krager. I'm with the Generation Development Group, and it's my group that gets to go and negotiate all these wonderful projects. And the first one I want to bring up is the Beacon Bundled Solar project, one of the most complicated projects that we've had to date. It combines bringing large-scale developers, working with local developers to help our feed-in tariff program. And as what we've done is we've broken this into 5 different sites, and each site actually has a fit portion except for Site 4, which does not have a feed-in tariff obligation. So with this, the term for the large scale is 25 years, and for the feed-in tariff is 20 years. And as what we did with this Fit 50 is we made it competitive so that they all had to compete for the pricing as well as for the large scale. And as Mike mentioned, it was not based just on pricing, but also their experience, their development experience, what they could bring to the table, what they could do locally, and partnership with the local various companies as well. Our total annual for just the large scale will be 675 gigawatt hours per year, and for the fit portion, just under 88 gigawatt hours per year. These 2 projects alone will be over 4% of our 25% by the end of 16 and the 33% of at the end of 2020. And then, of course, this whole project will connect into the Beacon substation, which interconnects into the Barron Ridge substation. And just kind of real quickly on some of the details, again here, it actually breaks down the amount of the feed-in tariff per site, but each of these sites actually have 5 different agreements with them, being the power purchase agreement, the option to purchase the facility back, leasing the property to them, since we bought that earlier, also a 34-5 interconnection agreement, as well as a competitive offer power purchase agreement for just the fit portion, which we now call the COPA, the sister or brother of the SOPA. This is just quickly as far as for the schedule on the bundled solar project intermixed with the Fit 50 in between it. We expect all the projects to be done by the end of 16, so it can get all the investment tax credits by the end of 16.
Quick question. It says that you anticipate awarding the contract in July of this year. So has the RFP process been completed? Where are we at this point with the developers?
Yeah, so the RFP process has been completed. We have all the agreements signed, and we expect to bring these to you June 3rd.
Out of curiosity, how many developers bid on this project?
I believe we had 23 different developers bid on the Beacon Bundled. Okay. As far as from the overall cost, over the 25 years, about $900 million. So all that savings we had from water, I'm sorry I'm spending it, so excuse me. For the Fit 50, the $220 million over 20 years. And just to give you an idea, without giving any particular site pricing. Beacon averaged about the mid-50s per megawatt hour, and the Fit 50 was about mid-120s per megawatt hour. Very low rate impact for both these programs going forward.
So these projects are less than what we had in our integrated resource plan and what was in the financial plan. So these prices actually reduce the expenditure level that's going to be required moving forward.
And I'd like to add that the pricing on the bundled comes in some cases less than it costs us to generate using natural gas. So this is really a first for us. And that's kind of the evolution, and also just the unique approach where we took a lot of the development risk out of the project and brought a site and the transmission and just tried something very different.
The second project that we'll be bringing forward in June is the 8-minute Springbok solar project, which will be 100 megawatts of single-axis tracking solar. And this will be just east of our Beacon bundled solar project. It will interconnect into the same Beacon substation at 230 kV.
Why is it called 8-minute?
That is the name of the company. It's actually the amount of time the light of the sun can get to Earth. So they say 8 minutes. That's not why I awarded the project, though. And as I mentioned, the technology going forward, this will be single-axis tracking, as well as, I didn't mention before, the bundled beacon will also be single-axis tracking, which will give us more megawatt hours and also add some more megawatt hours a little bit later in the day to coincide with our peak. We have ownership in this agreement as well, and the one difference with this one is that we will be prepaying for a portion of the energy, and we can get into more details when we bring that for approvals, but we expect that to have some savings over the full 25 years of at least $30 million and at least 8% depending on what the discount rate is. And this is the schedule that going forward for the 8-minute. Again, mid-2016, we expect the commercial operation date for the 8-minute Springbok. And our cost for Springbok will be a little over $350 over the 25 years, with the price with the prepay under $65, and we expect this to have no rate impact.
So if these time frames slide and they're not done by December 31st, what happens?
So for these particular projects, we have put into the agreement that there will be no price increase to LADWP. However, they will not get the investment tax credit, so they will hit pretty hard. So they will have a lot of incentive to get it done by the end of 2016.
Will they finish the projects if they don't get the investment tax credit?
That's a tough question.
So yeah, here's how we've protected ourselves, is that we have the ability to step in and resolve projects. So we have the rights to take over the unfinished project, to cure that project, to make us whole in that process. So we won't be in a situation where if they don't complete the project, they walk away, we have nothing. We can actually step in and cure that project. We wanted to give them enough runway so that they can get this completed on time. And so as we've been working with banking entities, we've been working with our PFM, who is our financial consultant, that we believe that they have enough time to finance this and get this done, and the runway is enough to where the financiers who control the money are going to feel comfortable financing the projects. So that's how we've controlled it. We've given them runway, but then we have the step-in rights to cure should they fail to perform.
As of when?
Right after COD. They have time to cure after COD, and then we can step in after that. So commercial operation is kind of a demarcation in time where we can start stepping in and take action.
Well, if we see that they're slow X months in advance, what can we do?
Yeah, so we have milestones in the agreement that they have liquidated damages, and if they they run out of liquidated damage, we can step in if we choose to in their shoes before that time. On to the third project that bringing forward in June is the Barron Ridge Solar Project, which is 60 megawatts of solar. And this is a little bit different because it's not connecting right into the Barron Ridge, the Beacon substation. It's connecting into the Barron Ridge substation. So it's on the west side of the Highway 14 up there. This is going to be fixed tilt in this case for the 60 megawatts. Again, we do have ownership in this project going forward and can step in a lot of different periods. This project we expect to be done by the end of 2015, and the reason for this is because it's connecting it right into the Barron Ridge substation rather than the Beacon substation. A little over $240 million for it for 20 years, and this is in the upper 60s for this particular project with, again, a very small rate impact for our ratepayers. We added this slide in just to give you what our road is to get to 33% by the end of 2020. And the main portion is to show here, right where we are in 2014, that really going forward, we have a lot of wind already in our portfolio, but going forward, solar, and looking forward at geothermal. And that's what we were looking forward, both with the feed-in tariff, the SIP program, and then, of course, all the large-scale programs that we're bringing forward. And then really just any questions here going forward.
Let me just double back, stay on the investment tax credit for a moment. I assume that this expiration will impact the various components of the feed-in tariff program as well, so that if people in the feed-in tariff program haven't completed their project by this time period, they lose the tax credit. It applies to any solar project, doesn't it?
That is correct.
And do we have a concern about the various feed-in tariff projects being completed in time?
The design of the set price 100 megawatt feed-in tariff was designed such that those projects would be well before 2016. As we've talked about, in 2015 would be the last tranche, and they have 18 months to get those built, so they have time. The Fit 50, which is what we'll be bringing to you as part of the Beacon bundled projects, they also had time periods, 3 time periods to hit those targets. So we believe that they have that time to get done before 2016 to achieve the tax credit. Now, a expanded feed-in tariff program is different because that might kick in and overlap between the time of tax benefits and non-tax benefits.
And without the tax benefits, are these projects profitable to the developers?
Well, it depends. Yes, they'll probably still be profitable because without the tax benefits, they will reprice. And we've heard anywhere between 20 to 30% minimum price increases for solar if everything else stays the same. And so we would expect that proposals that start to come in after 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019 will start to reflect those higher prices.
And then how competitive will those prices be by comparison to other forms of power?
They will be much less competitive. We think that if they see a 20 to 30% price increase for solar, geothermal will be much more cost effective moving forward.
How would it compare to gas?
To natural gas?
Natural gas.
Well, today, with about a $60 price, we're finding that we're on par with natural gas, which is why you're not seeing the rate increase.
But it's priced in the context of the tax credit.
That's right. And you take that away, and then you would expect that you would have a 20 to 30% bump up above avoided cost of natural gas.
If I could.
Yeah.
Because we should probably put in context when we say tax benefits. There are several tax benefits associated with renewable projects and solar in particular. In the state of California, there's the exemption related to property tax value increase associated with solar installations. So these big projects can be built on the land, and it doesn't increase the property tax assessment. So you're not paying where you would in a gas plant or any other type of plant. There are some potential dates upcoming where that could be revisited by the state, and that could expire, or they could renew that. There are accelerated depreciation tax benefits on solar as well that are there that potentially could be expiring soon. And then there's just the upfront related to the capital expenditure on the solar projects, where you could get a 30% offset right off the top of your capital expenditure. So there's several different layers, and one might proceed, another might not. So there is a lot of unknown and uncertainty related to how this will progress.
Is the federal investment tax credit related only to capital investment?
I believe so.
I'm confused about some aspect of it. Some people came to see me about solar issues, and they made the argument that some of the solar companies we're dealing with currently in our FIT program, once the investment tax credit expires, these companies are not going to be able to continue to operate profitably. But I don't understand why that would be the case if it's only in the context of capital investment. Does it impact ongoing operations after the capital investment?
The investment tax credit does not.
Yeah.
If they made use of the production tax credit, then that could, but that is not nearly as beneficial as the investment tax credit. So every solar developer I've talked to wants to get that because that's the premium product for them.
So they want to get the capital investment done.
That's right.
In time to obtain the credit, but they're not worried about ongoing operations once the capital is invested before 2016 is
Because
over.
they've already extracted the benefits.
Okay.
Yeah, and some of the entities we're dealing with don't have the tax appetite themselves, so they have to bring in a tax equity partner to help monetize some of those tax benefits, and so you'll see some of these unique partnerships that occur.
Right, right. Other questions or comments on this very helpful presentation?
I simply just want to applaud your efforts. I feel that you've done a stellar job in creating a diverse and creative strategy to achieving our goals.
Thank you.
I second that. Commissioner Broad?
I just have a question. Does any of what we're talking about impact the proposed projects in the North San Fernando Valley?
The projects that we're talking about are all large-scale, utility-scale projects. So what we bring before you will not impact the North San Fernando Valley, and that's the feed-in tariff program that's existing.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
I probably need to add a clarification there, though. Within this, we have a bundled 50 FIT, and those will be 50 megawatts of projects within the city. So to some extent, we don't know yet where those developers are proposing to build those projects within the city. So it will be under the same issue that we're discussing now and that we're trying to work with the council office on. But at this point, we don't know where those projects will be.
Yeah, at our last commission meeting, we did discuss those projects.
Just, I haven't had a chance to mention this to you, but I have a telephone appointment with Commissioner Fuentes to discuss this on Thursday, and you and I should talk before that.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. Very helpful. Does that subsume both the presentation and the filing, or not? No, we have a filing, 29B, Renewable Portfolio Standard Projects Update.
And that's just a filing. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to respond.
No questions, apparently. Okay, Council, would you say whatever magic words you need to say to move us into closed session?
So at this point, we will recess into closed session in accordance with the California Government Code and report any final action taken therein.
Thank you. We will recess into closed session.